State.
I haven't actually seen too many PVTs from State lately, so I'm interested to see how this is going to go.
I have, but for reasons that I cannot talk about.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, spawning into the top left-hand position. It's just our secret. I like to be secretive. That's how I strengthen bonds, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say that stuff I said about Mr. Bitter. It is Major spawning as the red Terran in the top left-hand corner. His opponent spawning to the bottom left. It is State.
Good spawn positions for the Protoss player, actually, because if Major wants to medevac drop him, it's harder to medevac drop the main base in these spawns.
I would agree. I mean, what you're doing is you're facing only one side. Or, excuse me, I'm looking at... Yeah, facing only one side. And the natural is pretty defensible, and especially if you throw a couple stalkers back here.
That's usually where the Protoss units are standing, too.
Yeah, that too. I mean, they're right around this place, covering both the natural and the main. And what you have to do is basically go even further, wrap around the main base, just to enter in right here. And let's be honest, this position, it doesn't really have anything of value over here. You're not going to... Well, you can hide tech. Some people like to go gateways and then put photon cannons to make it like an undroppable area. But for the most part, it's not economy that you're hitting. You're not going to throw double forge over there, or you shouldn't throw double forge over there. So these are all things that you can do as a Protoss to really take advantage of the positions. Right now, it is a gas first. Not gas first. Yeah, it is gas first. Excuse me. So he's looking to do probably some sort of mine drops. Normally we see this a lot, and go into some sort of expansion, or sometimes we even see double expansion. I think double expansion is the much better way to go.
After mine drops?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit risky if they're going for any kind of blink stalker all-in.
Yes.
But if they're not, it's kind of what you have to do, because if you don't go for a fast third, then the mine drops have to pay off and do some damage, I feel, or you end up behind as a Terran player.
And there's a lot of good transitions with mine drops directly after that, because you gain so much time. Just the fact that the medevac can be out on the field is really, really scary. And it kind of forces Protoss to play a lot more inclusive rather than stepping out onto the field. With that, you can take advantage, just throw down a single barracks, go for an E-bait, and then throw down 2 more barracks after 2 command centers. So this is all really, really greedy stuff. But no, look at this. It's going to be a Hellion opening. Now, we've seen this before. It's very sparsely used. What you can do is actually switch over and put a tech lab on this barracks. And with that, you have a really strong... No, he's just going to make Marines. But you have a really strong push against any early expansions, any Nexus first. And with the Mothership Core, you're not going to have enough energy by the time this hits.
And this can punish a Protoss player who moves out with their Stalker and their Mothership Core, because then 2 Hellions just run into your main base and you have nothing to defend.
That's right. Probe will get in here and see no command center. Oh my. What is going on? And that should trigger a very defensive play by State. We'll see. Right now, only 2 Marines out in the field. He needs at least, I would say, 4 Marines to defend against this Mothership Core without taking a lot of damage.
Oh, but the Stalker's chasing the SCV. These Hellions are going to go right into the main base.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And he will walk up into the main, not even waste time at the natural. And this will net a lot of kills. Major starting out really nicely.
I've seen this end games before.
Yeah, me too. And he's spreading out okay, but even the Stalker doesn't have enough DPS to kill these Hellions all too well. And not only that, they have the mobility. Things just look brilliant for Major. Total workers killed 10-1. Was the SCV worth it? Of course not.
And a double command center follow-up for Major. So this is
sense.
going to put him in an incredibly good economic position.
We've seen him do a build like this very similarly before, and now going double Widow Mine after this.
And this is about as risky as Major can play it, actually. He's building his 3rd command center at the 3rd base.
Yeah.
This early in the game. We never see this in PvT.
Who did he do this against? Some Protoss... Oh, just now in WCS he did this, right? What was the Protoss? No, just the name escapes me. But basically he likes to do like the old school tank mine Marine build. We saw this in the beginning of Heart of the Storm, Wings of Liberty. A little bit where it was just siege tank and Marines. And even this has a very StarCraft Brood War-esque feel to it, where you're having mines, tanks, and Marines just take a lot of position so you can get economy as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. His tank Marine did have a bit of trouble against Huck in the recent match.
That's who it was. Thank you. It was Huck. Yeah, Huck just slammed it down with a lot of Immortals, but let's be honest, he wasn't this far behind compared to his opponent last time. Income tab showing 36 to 31, a big income advantage for Major as it stands. And State hasn't really chosen the tech path, by the way. Now finally throw down the Robotics Bay and the Twilight Council, but I was surprised we didn't see any Immortals coming out of here. And if you look at the Units tab, we don't even have Sentries coming out either. So I wanted to say it looks kind of like a Zealot. No, not even Forges are out. So it's really peculiar what State is doing.
Yeah, I think to catch up, he's trying to delay his Forge a little bit, get quicker Class I, and kind of skimp a bit on his early units to defend.
Okay, yeah.
And it makes a bit of sense, but I don't think he's seeking this third base from Major. Once he sees he's going to have to get something done, either take his own third, or kind of prepare for some type of push. Because with especially with the Class I play, I think it's more difficult to come back from a position in which you're behind economically against Terran.
Yeah, I think so. Widowmine will be focused down a little bit here, but State has to retreat as the Marines and Siege tanks will be right behind. Double Barracks going to enter the field as he is eventually taking over to a lot of Marine Marauder. I have to say I really like this opening coming out from Major. Big scan will reveal that Robotics Bay all the way to the left-hand side. And there is a Colossus on the way as well. But as it stands, Major is just incredibly far ahead with his Siege tanks, with his Marines, and now approaching just a much better composition. I feel like Major is going to be a great position after mid-game stage. He needs Stim, he needs Combat Shield first, but then once he does his... He starts to max out a little bit, he'll be able to push out with an alarming amount of units.
Yeah, and I like how he's playing more defensively than we saw in the series against Huck, adding some bunkers, sieging up his tanks. I think he knows his third base gives him such an advantage, and all he has to do is play defensively and take advantage of it.
There's no real reason to be on the map, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just going to exacerbate your advantage or exacerbate your opponent's ability to come back into the game if you lose all your units. It just standardizes the variance a little bit here. State will scout just a supply depot, and now finally looking at his opponent's third base. And State's probably not going to be too happy once he sees that, pushing out into the map. And if I know State's style correctly, he is going to put down a Nexus right behind this. Because he doesn't like to really commit to this all in. But he definitely could. I just don't think it would be a wise decision.
And I think you're correct. He has a probe ready to build a third base.
Oh, look at this, though. Nope, Medevac is not going to go for that. Thought he was going to kill the probe. Instead, he's going to go for the main base.
Mothership Core is a bit out of position, too. But it's still not going to be too big of a deal. A couple of Zods there.
And it looks like he's going to have to forego the attack because of this warp, and it actually affects you a little bit. Major's just going to pick it up and run around this Photon Overcharge. In the meantime, try to pressure the third yet again, or what he thinks is the third base, but there's no third being put down, so he kind of knows this is going to be a big all-in coming out from State. State still not putting down another Nexus, implying that he wants to end the game earlier. I don't think he'll be able to do it, though. Look at this defensive position. Right?
Yeah, I don't think he can break this. The Major has a pretty nice supply advantage, and he has several bunkers. And this army has not that many gateway units to support this two Colossi still. I think State will have to just retreat, try to take a third base.
Stim on the... Well, Stim just about finished along with +1/1. So all the essential upgrades are just about there right now for Major. He will be able to reclaim his third momentarily. I love this, not deciding to try to defend this third base, realizing, hey, that's a pretty terrible engagement. A trade in this stage would actually be very bad because I don't have my upgrades. But once my upgrades pop on, it's like a light switch. All of a sudden, my Marines, my Marauders are just so much better because they can get into position, they do more damage, etc., etc. So everything is just being played theoretically correct. And I think Major is just going to mass up and kill. That's what his plan is.
Yeah, and he has a lot of Vikings on the field already, too. So I don't think
Yeah.
he'll have any trouble dealing with the Colossi of State.
But this is the stuff I love from State. Coming in here with a drop, 4 Zealots will go on into the main base, and this can do a lot of damage because Major doesn't have any units around there. Units will stim back, and it's giving State a lot of time. He's now getting Archons, additional Colossi, and now trying to stop. Oh, man, if he stops this combat shields, that'll be pretty big. And he does. So it'll delay Major yet again for pushing out into the map and doing that critical blow that he needs to do. If you attack in with only 45 hit point Marines, you're basically dead to 2 shots from a Colossus because a single stim will put you at 35. Your medevacs can't heal everything. And that 2 shots, all the Marines, whether you have armor or not.
Yeah, and now State's also secured his third base, so that kind of lessens Major's economic lead. He still does have a nice Viking count to deal with the Colossi, but without combat shield Marines, it's going to be tough.
I mean, this is going to be really dicey. I mean, he has the supply advantage, 185 to 146. Will he be able to end this storm on the way? And this is the timing that a lot of Terrans really search for. High Templars are underway as well. Siege Tank will get a nice connection on some of those Stalkers. This is going to be enough, though. Vikings get in here, doing damage against the first one hallucinated Colossus, but now the real Colossus will be taken out. There's only one more Colossus in this composition. Will he be able to take it out? That's the question. As he stims up onto the high ground, Archons will defend against that, but the natural is what you have to really worry about. In the Templar Archives, that's also another thing you have to worry about because that's about to finish Storm, and all of a sudden, I don't know if Major can push into this, but he's doing a good job so far. A lot of units are low in health. He has a single Colossus, warped in Zealots from the right-hand side, and where is his High Templars? I don't think he has any out in the field.
Nope, he doesn't even have one.
And that proves to be a little bit critical, but of course he needs to hard defend against this. I don't know how State did it, but he's able to fend this off, and meanwhile has a Warp Prism on the other side of the map, I believe. Might be an Observer. I'll look at it after this. Immortal will fall back, and this is getting a little bit crazy. Yeah, Warp Prism going into the main base, and this could be exactly what he needs. 2-2 on the way. Will he be able to deny these in time? He has 30 seconds to do something about this, but Major is relentless with his attack. 2-2 about to finish, and the upgrades are 0-2 right now for the Protoss. Zealots will sprint ahead. Immortals trying to do damage, but will not be able to connect just yet because of the fighting. Colossus is going to be focused down with some Vikings. And it looks like Major is starting to get a gigantic advantage going into this. The third base is pretty much defenseless. And still no Warpins. There it is, GG. And Major will take game